Good afternoon and welcome to Maya's focus activity 4 to 5, describing a film. I'm Terry. I'm from the Maya's Florence Via Baracca School, and I'm from the United States, from Seattle, which is in the Northwest, almost to Canada. If Seattle sounds familiar, maybe it's from Grey's Anatomy or from Nirvana. Kurt Cobain comes from a small town right near Seattle. I will be joined by my amazing co-host Oscar very soon, but I think he's just been a little bit delayed. So as you join us, please tell us your name and where you are from, and if there is anything interesting about where you are from. There's always something interesting about where we are from. So tell us something about you and where you come from. Today, we will be talking about different aspects, different parts of films. So we're going to be describing the details of a film, talking about our favorite film genres. That's genre. We stole, abbiamo rubato, we stole the word from the French genre, and asking questions about films. So, different questions about films. Favorite film genre? What is your favorite film genre? Or what is your favorite film? Okay? Really simple questions, just one verb, question word, verb, and the subject. What is your favorite film? All right. So, first of all, talking about film genres. Now, I don't know about you, but I love movies. I watch at least 2 or 3 movies every week. So I don't have a favorite genre, but I do have some genres that I prefer. For example, on the weekend, I like to stay up late and watch a horror movie. So a horror movie, I think the genre is almost the same word in Italian. And some adjectives that we can use to describe a horror film would be scary or ghoulish. So if it has a ghost is a type of a ghoul. All right, so horror films. Other genres that I really like include action movies. I love a good thriller. Thrillers are movies with a lot of suspense. They make you wait and watch, waiting to see what happens. So let's see some of these different film genres. Or here's Oscar. He's joining us. Hello, Oscar.
I'm very sorry. I was unfashionably late today. I had some technical issues combined with my own issues, so to speak.
All right.
I do apologize to you.
Not a problem. I was just telling everybody what some of my favorite film genres are. And I said, I said I love a good horror film, especially on the weekend if I can stay up late. I like something that's really scary and ghoulish. What about you? What is your favorite? Well, first of all, would you introduce yourself, Oscar?
Yeah, sure. My name is Oscar. I'm a teacher at the Via Baracca School in Florence with Terry, or at least when we were having a school, when we were teachers together. I'm from South England, a town called Hastings, which is near Brighton on the south coast of England by the sea. You can almost spit on France
Why would you do that?
because they're French.
Be careful.
Yeah.
All right.
Your
last-
favorite movie is horror. Oh, man.
That's one of. I was just
One of.
beginning to say that my second favorite film genre is a thriller because I love suspense. I love movies that make me watch and wait because I don't know how it's going to end. What about you? What are your favorite film genres?
I think for me, my favorite film genres are maybe action, fantasy, sci-fi, and sometimes a drama, but not horror. No.
Can you give me an adjective you would use? Why do you like action films?
I would say action films are exciting and easy to watch. You don't need to think. Yeah.
That's why I like horror, because I can't think. I just am glued to the screen.
Well, I mean, you might live in the present more with a horror film. You're probably more present. That's good. But some people really like spicy food. They like their tongue burning. I don't understand it. And I don't understand why people like feeling scared.
Now, do you know that spicy food does not make your tongue burn? Spices make your taste buds open, and so every sensation is felt more intensely.
The sensation of burning is felt more intensely.
It's okay. So, what adjective would you use to describe a fantasy film? You said you like fantasy.
Yes. I think they are, for me, fantasy films are very imaginative and creative if done well.
So
some fantasy films are completely rubbish. Yeah.
it's true. So what is your favorite fantasy film?
My favorite fantasy film is Lord of the Rings. Yeah. That was the big one when I was growing up. It was like, what is this? Wow.
Now, why do you like Lord of the Rings? What is it about that movie that makes it your favorite fantasy film?
Lord of the Rings is an epic adventure with big battles and believable heroes. That's my review.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
I liked it because fantasy for me, a lot of the times, is done badly. It's too silly. It's too much CGI. Lord of the Rings felt gritty, felt a bit real. Where have you watched the Hobbit films?
No, I read the books. I loved the books. I did not see the Hobbit film. I did see the animated Hobbit film. I loved it.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it.
It's very old. It's older than me. Okay, maybe not that old.
So yeah, the new Hobbit films are complete rubbish. They're They're awful. They're terrible. Don't watch them.
Okay. Thank you for that review.
There
Now,
you
how
go.
about your another favorite genre? You said action films. What is one of your favorite action films?
Oh, good question. One of my favorite action films is Speed. I haven't seen it for a long time, but Speed. Have you
Sandra
seen?
Bullock and some guy.
Yeah, he's not some guy, Terry. He's a pretty big deal.
I forget his name. Who is he? Keanu Reeves. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, why did you like Speed?
Speed is a well-written movie where there's always something happening. It doesn't have any slow parts. It's not boring. There's something to keep you engaged the whole way, keep you interested. So Speed keeps you interested throughout the whole film. What about you, Terry? Do you have a favorite action film?
Action films. I'm not as big a fan of action films. I think some of my favorite action film would have to be an older film, the John McClane series, the Die Hard series with Bruce Willis. I really liked Bruce Willis as the action hero. But my favorites are horror films and thrillers, honestly.
Right. My life is scary enough. Don't need anything.
So, do you like any horror films?
When I was little, I watched loads of horror films, the classics. We watched so many, and I got so many nightmares. But as I got older, I got more afraid of horror films. It didn't desensitize me, which was strange. But I really liked, for example, Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, beautiful. What Depp. Yes.
Yeah. You love Johnny Depp, don't you? Yeah.
I love Johnny Depp. He's my favorite.
Yeah, Sleepy Hollow. Was another really good horror film. And some that aren't really that scary, but are quite kind of cult classics. Have you seen a film called Eight-Legged Freaks?
No.
Have you heard of a film called Tremors?
You heard of it.
They're not really very scary. They're more like what you call creature features, I think.
It's really difficult to find a movie that scares me. Everyone talked about the Blair Witch Project. Oh, it's so scary. I laughed. I literally laughed. And people near me in the theater were mad and they were yelling at me because I couldn't stop laughing.
Why were you laughing? It's scary.
No, it wasn't scary at all. It was so unbelievable that I couldn't stop laughing. But the best horror film, okay, so Psycho, but that's an Alfred Hitchcock, which is a whole different level. The best horror film of all time is the classic The Shining. And The Shining, written by Stephen King, it's not like the horror films these days where there's a lot of blood and a lot of running through the forest being chased by some unbelievable creature. But there are ghosts because it's a haunted place, but there's not so much blood that it's gory. But the main character slowly going crazy builds the suspense in a way that when you arrive at a certain point, you just jump out of your seat. And I think for me, that's the key.
Yeah, I remember seeing The Shining when I was little, And I think that scene where the lift opens and the blood, I think that probably gave me like a week of nightmares, just that.
That elevator opening and the blood didn't give me the nightmares. The twins gave me the nightmares.
Twins. Yeah, no, that was a pretty scary film. I haven't read, any of his. I haven't read The Shining. I think because reading is much more scary, isn't it?
It is, and the book is so much scarier than the movie.
I'll save that when I don't want to sleep or something.
Exactly. When you go on vacation and you really want to stay awake, read that, because it's probably one of my all-time favorite books. But his sequel, I waited 20 years for him to write a sequel to The Shining. And it came out just like a couple of years ago, and I read it last summer on my vacation. No, the summer before last on my vacation. And it was the biggest disappointment in the history of books for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called?
The sequel?
Yeah.
Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep. I haven't heard
and
of it.
The movie was better than the book, which is really, being a Stephen King fan, I have never said that the movie is better than the book.
That's not a thing you hear commonly. Yeah. Why was the book so bad, Terry?
The book was so bad because he wrote so many characters into it, and each character was written in an not overly dramatized, but in a way that made it took the character out of being scary and made them unbelievable. And because of that, it began to make them almost comical. And so it lost its element of suspense, and it lost its ability to frighten me. It almost seemed more like a spoof. And that was disappointing.
Yeah, that must be. Especially if you waited 20 years.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've been waiting just over 10 years for a sequel in a book series. And every year you check and it's like, it might be released next year. And it's like, what is going on?
Yeah. So what book series are you waiting for the sequel?
That is a fantasy series called The Name of the Wind. It's very good, but like George R. R. Martin, the author is not in any rush, which you have to respect, because the way these are their legacy, these people who write these books, so they do want it to be perfect, but it's very annoying.
Yeah, I imagine. All right, so here are some other movie genres. And since we have already talked about our favorite movie, our favorite genre, and why we like them, let's see if we can just name a movie to go with each genre. And this list of genres is not complete. So let's add to it. So fantasy film, Avatar.
Okay. Yeah. Romance. The Note.
Yeah, The Note. Titanic also.
Oh, well, that's a good one. Yeah.
Action film, action. Well, action's your specialty. Action.
James Bond.
There we go. The best action of all time. Comedy. Now, comedy is really different from America to England. American comedies tend to be more in your face, over the top, often crude. For example, The Hangover or The Big Lebowski. Whereas British humor seems to be more self-deprecating. Oh, that was a big word. More, sorry. More
subtle, I think maybe you might say.
Dry.
More dry, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Strange.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah, that is pretty in your face. but it is also very dry at times. Yeah.
My favorite.
Mm.
Animation. I love animated films.
Yeah, I'm like a kid at heart when it comes to animated films. I love watching Kung Fu Panda, Monsters Inc., Bolt, Up, the Fantastic, wait, what are they called?
The
The Fantastic.
Fantastics. The
Yeah, the Fantastic.
Fantastics.
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon, Wall-E. Yeah.
Oh, Wally. Have you seen Coco?
No, I've seen that on Netflix. Is it worth watching?
It's more than worth watching. It's
Mm,
fantastic.
or maybe I'll watch
How
it tonight.
about Inside Out?
Yes, that did make me cry. Yeah, I don't know if I
Fabulous.
could survive watching it twice, but yeah, no, it's very good.
So I see that we have someone with us. Don't be shy, timido, shy. Tell us your name and where you're from, and join us in talking about movies. So, Oscar, I'm going to tell you something that I'm nearly embarrassed to say.
Oh, go on.
The oh, please. The other
Well, I
night,
just said I cried over a kids' film, so
but some of them really. So, musicals. The other night, I was just tired and sad and frustrated after a month in quarantine. And so I wanted a movie that was going to make me not think. So I watched Pitch Perfect 3. Are you
okay.
familiar with the Pitch Perfect series?
I think it's about a singing group.
An a cappella group from college. Now, the first one was kind of fun. The second one was a little bit stupid. The third one, I had no great expectations, and they were met. It's like 6 years after they've all graduated college, and they get back together for an a cappella reunion.
Mm.
It's like,
So
anyway,
what's the story?
there really wasn't one. It was just a bunch of things going on between times when they would stop and sing. Not much. But it was a musical.
Yeah, that's nice. Trying to think of musicals that I've watched that I like. Not really no, I don't think I've seen a musical that I've liked really, but it's pretty common. I don't think most guys don't really watch musicals much.
West Side Story.
Yeah, I've watched that in music class at school. Yeah, like
The Sound of Music.
no, I haven't seen The Sound of Music.
Oh, Oscar.
I know. It's on the list someday, sure.
Mary Poppins.
Yeah, when I was a child, probably at some point. Yeah.
See, these are still some of my favorites.
Yeah.
All right. Name one horror film that you really liked.
Okay, so there's two horror films that I will like. Have you heard of these two? One's called REC. REC. It's not letting me post. Can you hear me, Terry?
Yes.
Oh, it won't let me comment. Anyway,
I had a problem with that earlier. So you said it's
right.
REC.
Yeah, REC. Yeah. So it's about this like hotel. No, so this reporter is following a fire truck crew for the night just to do a local report, and they get called to this apartment building, and someone in the apartment building is infected like a zombie, and then it's like a zombie movie, but it's filmed like Blair Witch style, and it's done really well, and it's really creepy. And they're like scary fast zombies, like 28 days later. Oh, 28 days later. That was
there it is. All right.
Iconic film of it won't let me type anything, of my childhood. I loved that film. Hated it, but loved it.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm trying to stay days, not day. I'm trying to stay away from anything plague related in these days. So,
I can't
you
imagine
know,
why, Terry. It's a good escape
yeah,
from reality. And there was
I know.
another film. Have you heard of it called The Cabin in the Woods?
Yes, I
Mm.
didn't like it.
I liked it because I know it is dumb, but it's also like I think quite original, and it sort of turns the camera on the viewer a bit. Like, why do you like watching this stuff? What's wrong with you?
It's true. It's true. It did. I
I
kind
kind of
of,
like
yeah.
it. And
Okay, good
what
point.
about you? Did you say what's your favorite horror film? The Shining.
The Shining,
Mm.
that has, and The Exorcist.
Mm. Yeah, didn't watch that one. Yeah, but I've
So, all right.
seen bits of it.
Yeah. It's. How about science fiction film? Do you like science
Mm.
fiction?
I love science fiction. Absolutely. Yeah. Um, Serenity, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
But Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a bit more comedy than it is science fiction, isn't it?
I
The book,
suppose you could say it's both.
the
Like I
book.
enjoy. Mm, mm, um, and then like Interstellar, thought was good. Mm,
Okay, I remember.
yeah.
So, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Have you read all the books?
Yes, yes. Although they are a bit like jumbled in my mind because I didn't read them in order and I read them a long time ago.
You
Yeah,
didn't, not in order. How did?
don't know, but yeah, no, I thought they were really good. Like incredible imagination from the author.
Absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. Now, how would you classify Avatar? Would Avatar be action or science fiction?
I'd say it's a science fiction or action science fiction if you want to combine it. But it's not really an action film. It's not really about the action in the film. It's more
Hmm.
about like the characters. Don't know.
I just like the dragons. I wanted a dragon. I saw them ride the dragon. Oh, what a dragon!
Yeah.
Anyway,
How many times did you see it in the cinema?
in the cinema twice.
That's pretty good going. Yeah.
And at home once, and I was just, it made me understand really that some films must be seen in the cinema.
Definitely, yeah. Although it had a horrible effect where for the next 2 years every film was in 3D, which was
Oh,
awful.
oh, I agree. All right, rapid fire. Are you ready?
Go,
Rapid fire.
go.
One adjective to describe each film genre. Oh God, why did I just say that? Now I have to do it.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
Fantasy, imaginative, romance, heartwarming, action, thrill ride, comedy, light-hearted, animation, adventurous, musical, uplifting, horror, chair gripping, science fiction, eyebrow raising.
Whoa, Oscar!
My God, it's like
Yes,
a short beat rap poem. Incredible.
that was fabulous. I couldn't have done it. All right. So now we're going to talk about setting. Okay, when we use the word setting, or we say that the film is set in, we talk about where and when. So, Oscar, you said Lord of the Rings was one of your favorite or your favorite adventure film. Where does it take place?
Lord of the Rings is set in the fantasy world of Middle Earth. It won't let me comment. I'm just going to quickly relog in. Yeah. Where's your favorite film set, Terry?
Oh, my favorite. Oscar has left us again. I'm sure he'll be right back. My favorite horror film, The Shining, is set in a real place, the Overlook Hotel in the mountains of Colorado in America. There's Oscar. He's back. Yay! I can't hear you. Come back.
You have to add me. There you go.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I was just saying that my favorite film, The Shining, is set in a real place, the Overlook Hotel in the mountains of Colorado in the United States. But I wanted to ask you, now I thought that Lord of the Rings was filmed in New Zealand. You said Middle Earth.
Oh.
What's the difference?
Okay.
What's
The
the
difference.
difference between set and filmed?
So, the film, the movie was filmed in New Zealand. They went to New Zealand, the camera crew, and the directors and the actors, and they made the film in New Zealand. But the story, the world of the story, is not New Zealand because it's fantasy. The world of the story is Middle Earth, the fantasy world.
Okay, so filmed in means where the actors made the movie, and set in refers to the location and time in which the story takes place.
Mm-hmm.
So we would say probably that Titanic was filmed in many different locations, but it was set in Ireland and on the sea during the mid 1920s, if I'm correct.
Yeah. And what about The Shining? Where was it filmed?
It was also filmed in Colorado because they actually went to the site of this crazy, creepy hotel to film.
So they did go to a real hotel.
They went to a real location. I know that some of the scenes inside were probably filmed on a stage set in perhaps California, but they filmed over the hotel because this place actually does exist.
Did it get a lot of business from people like you wanting to go see the real hotel from The Shining?
Yes. Yes.
Good. Any publicity is good publicity then, literally.
Well, yeah, I didn't die, so there's that.
Oh, so you did go
All
to
right.
see it? You really did?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I really did.
Was it cool?
All right. So,
Was it cool to see the set?
it was really interesting to see the grounds of this hotel. Still, having the film in my head kind of gave me the creepies, the goosebumps.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so we talk about filmed in and set in. What's the difference between the actor and the character?
Okay. Here's a very famous example of a character. Okay, so in Die Hard, the character is John McClane. The actor is Bruce Willis. Would you agree?
Absolutely. So the actor is the person who plays the role, and the character is the personality, or the character is who the story is, who is being portrayed. How can we say that in an easier way? The character is The person in the film.
The actor is the person who pretends to be the character.
Now, pretend, though, Oscar, is a false friend in Italian.
Which in Italian, prendere is to take.
Not prendere, pretendere.
What does that mean?
Means like to demand.
Ah.
Which domandare is another false friend because it means to ask.
Tricky.
All right. Anyway, so let's go back to. I love your example of the Lord of the Rings because it gives us really clear separation between set in, filmed in, and actor and character because it is fantasy. So who is a main actor and what character does he or she play?
A main actor is Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom plays the character of Legolas, an elf.
And he's beautiful.
He is a very beautiful man.
He is a beautiful man. And there's another famous actor, Viggo Mortensen. What character does Viggo Mortensen play?
Viggo Mortensen plays the character of Aragorn. Also a very good-looking chap.
Absolutely. That film is full of handsome men and beautiful women.
Who would you go on a dalliance with, Aragorn or Legolas?
Oh my. Wow. Aragorn.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
It didn't ask me, but anyway.
No, because I was trying to remember the names of the characters that are played by Kate Blanchett and by Liv Tyler.
Oh, okay. Kate Blanchett plays, is it Arwen?
The Fairy Queen?
Is that Kate Blanchett?
The blonde Fairy Queen.
Yeah. Oh no, I've forgotten her name as well. What kind of culture nerd am I? I can't remember. What's Viggo Mortensen been in? I've seen him in The Road.
Goodness, he's been in so many different. He's been in what was that called? Angry
Birds.
No, Angry Birds. No. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I can't. I'm just seeing his beautiful face now. So anyway.
I'm having a look.
Who was the director of Lord of the Rings?
The director of Lord of the Rings was Peter Jackson.
A very talented director.
Well, if he was so talented, he should have done the Hobbit films correctly.
You can't get everything right.
True.
No,
he's
very perfect, Oscar.
Very talented. Very true.
All right.
Yeah, Viggo Mortensen hasn't done that much. I'm looking at his list. He's done.
Did you IMDb him?
Oh, hang on. Yeah, this isn't the right thing, is it? Oh, here we go. I was looking at the wrong list. Oh, he's done a lot. Okay.
He's done so many. I can't even begin to.
Yeah, The Lord of the Rings, 28 Days, A Walk on the Moon, A Perfect Murder, Psycho. He's in Psycho. Okay.
Green Book. He just did that movie, Green Book. Have you seen it? It's fabulous.
Oh, really? Set in 1962, true story of a tour of the Deep South. Okay.
Absolutely.
He's
done a lot of action movies. He's done some dramatic movies. He's a very talented actor.
Definitely.
So now let's talk about the plot, and no spoilers, please. So, what is the plot? What does that mean?
The plot is the story of the film. What happens?
So, what is the plot of The Lord of the Rings?
In The Lord of the Rings, there is a bad guy called Sauron who wants to conquer the world, and there are some characters who want to stop him.
So
That
it's
is the plot.
Classic battle of good and evil.
Yeah. If you want a detailed plot, I can go into it. I can launch into it for a few hours if you've got time.
A few hours?
Although I actually have not read the books, so you know more than me probably.
You haven't read the books? Oh, they're so much better than the movies. Although I will say, I can't say they are so much better because they did a really great job of following the books. And I couldn't have, so, you know, when you read a book and your imagination is going crazy and you are creating the characters in your own mind. I can say that the characters that they brought to life on the screen were very different from what I imagined, but I can't say that that my imagination or that the book was better. And that's unusual.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So, without any spoilers, what happens in the end?
In the end, one of the good guys chucks a piece of jewelry down a hole. And apparently that was the right decision. So it works. The good guys win in the end.
All right, well. Yeah. How about the soundtrack? Is there a good soundtrack to The Lord of the Rings?
Oh yeah, it's an incredible soundtrack to Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Lots of very
the soundtrack?
The soundtrack has a lot of classical elements, deep orchestras, and dramatic tones. The soundtrack is the songs played in the film.
So, can you think of any movies that the soundtrack was better than the movie?
Interesting. The soundtrack was better than the movie. No, not off the top of my head. I just never really.
So I went to a movie some years ago, and the movie was absolutely terrible. No redeeming qualities whatsoever. But I went straight from the cinema to the record store to buy the CD of the soundtrack.
Interesting. What was the film?
Dear John, a movie about a soldier and the girl who loved him, who married someone else, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So what movies, when you hear soundtrack, what movies come to your mind? What are some of the best soundtracks of any movie? Movies.
Soundtracks of good movies.
Best soundtrack ever?
Maybe for me, I really like the soundtrack of How to Train Your Dragon. It's got very nice uplifting music, especially when he rides the dragon. It's the best bit.
Okay. Are there any famous songs on the soundtrack?
No, it's got a composed score for the film, so it won't have like a song, like a mainstream song, if you know what I mean. What about from Dear John? Is there a famous song from Dear John?
There are some famous songs, but they don't come to mind right. It was years ago. But the best soundtrack, well, there's really two. There are two movies that for me have the best soundtracks of all time. And those are Forrest Gump and
Mhm.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Mm.
Those movies are great, but without the music, they would have been less. Those two are just really great movies that the soundtrack just propels the movie into the stratosphere.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Special effects. Were there any special effects in The Lord of the Rings?
Well, I hope so, Terry, or that film's much more horrifying than I thought it was. Yeah, special effects. There are lots of computer generated images, but also a lot of, I suppose that is special effects, isn't it?
CGI, absolutely.
Mm,
And CGI, computer generated images.
mm,
In fact, Golem in Lord of the Rings is all computer generated.
mm.
He
Yeah.
was a very small, skinny man. They put him in a green suit with little sensors on his heat sensors on his body and had him do things. And then they generated him over the silhouette.
Mm.
I saw
Yeah.
this.
Andy
All right.
Serkis. Yeah.
All right. Rapid fire, just so that we can give the people who are watching but not participating. I'm so sad. Okay. So, title is
Film vocabulary. Match the new vocabulary.
all right. Oscar, what's the title of a film?
The title is the name of the film.
All right. Genre.
The type of film.
Setting.
When, where the film takes place.
Soundtrack.
The music of the film.
Director.
The person who makes the film.
And plot.
The story of the film.
Absolutely fabulous. You get an A+ for the day. All right. So
My first A+
we've
in a webinar.
Yes.
Mm,
Well, I think you've deserved one before.
thank you.
All right. So tonight I'm going to watch a film. Do you have any special recommendations? Anything you've seen recently that is a must see?
A film I really like is Little Miss Sunshine because it has very good writing. It's got a pretty simple plot, but the characters, the actors are fantastic, and it's very heartwarming.
Heartwarming. So it makes you feel good.
It makes you feel good.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. The genre, it's like a family, oh, I don't know, family comedy, comedy drama.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there any famous actors in it?
Steve Carell is in it, and I think that's it in terms of like famous actors, but it's very good.
All right, I will give it a shot.
Mm.
And what are you going to do this evening, Oscar? Are you going to watch a film?
Yes, I'm going to do another webinar now with Sarah, my first webinar with Sarah. And then after that, I will, yes, probably watch a film. I might try Coco.
It is a must see. It's
Good.
been a long time since since it had been a long time since I had watched an animated, and I just finished with this whole, oh, so I recommend it.
Will do.
So thank you for joining us. I see that we had several people. Remember, don't be shy. Non essere timido. It's important that you join us, that you interact, we can help you, and it's just so much more fun when everyone participates. So thank you for at least being with us this evening, and Oscar, I'll let you finish for us.
Yes, we hope that you stay safe, have a lovely week, and keep practicing English, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Okay, goodbye guys.